Welcome back. We are still on the Masada, and while we have disabled the door, disabled the force field on the door to the bridge, we're not going to use that way to get to the bridge, because you get more points if you use the transporter, and like I said, if you want full points, you have to disable the force field, and then use the transporter, because that makes sense, right? You do not have to disable the force field to be able to use the transporter, however. That will work either way. I guess the reason we can't just beam directly to the bridge from the Enterprise is because they could only lower the shields briefly. And I guess it would be risky to try doing that again. Anyway, now that we got ourselves this thing, the transmogrifier, with a usable inserted bit, Spock should be able to bypass some of the damage in the transporter.
I attach these here. Now, all I need is a spare length of wiring.
A spare length of wiring? It just so happens we got one. We also got some scraps of wiring earlier, which you might have thought, if you hadn't found this particular piece of wiring, you could use that to create a length of wiring, but like we saw, they just melt if you try to use the phaser welder on them. So let's use this one.
The controls are set for just inside the bridge door, Captain.
Mr. Spock, you're a genius.
I wouldn't go that far, Jim. But I do have to congratulate you, Mr. Spock. Now we can really risk shooting our atoms around the universe. Is this really necessary, Jim?
Analysis, Lieutenant Christensen.
Security analysis, sir. If we transport onto the bridge, we'll have the drop on them. Assuming Mr. Spock has the transporter working properly. If we could get past the force field on the door of the bridge, we should be able to surprise them for sure.
It's weird that Lieutenant Christensen's analysis seems to suggest that using the door is actually a safer way of getting in, when in fact that is not the case. In fact, I don't think it makes any difference how you get into the bridge as far as what you're able to do afterward. Because you might be tempted to think
Save new game.
It is a matter of stunning the people on the bridge, like it has been the case every time we saw enemies so far.
Replace previous.
But you'd be wrong, as I will demonstrate. Let's save first. Alright, let's use the transporter.
I'm going to have a word for you, Spock, if we appear inside the door.
Let's hope that won't be the case. Yeah, there are 4 Elasi on the bridge, and you can try and shoot them. And you will pretty much always lose at least the ensign. You can finish the message with just the ensign dead. But it's not good for your score.
Go to previously saved game.
Very dramatic music. So yeah, shooting them does not work, and it does not work any better if you go through the door, regardless of what Lieutenant Christensen says. I kind of struggled with this when I was replaying this. Could not figure out how to get past this without losing at least the ensign. Because if you just continue shooting them, you will be fast enough to make sure none of the main crew dies, which allows you to finish the mission. And in retrospect, the answer of what you're supposed to do is really obvious, so that's on me, I guess. I will keep you in suspense in case you haven't figured it out.
I'm going to have a word for you, Spock, if we appear inside the door.
This guy's just sitting here. He doesn't care.
It's over, Sareth. Surrender, and I'll guarantee the lives of you and your crew.
Yeah, all you have to do is talk to him, and no one gets hurt. Let's see what choices we have. This one sounds good, though.
Freeze. Don't even think about it. Check and mate, Elasi. Don't do anything foolish. It's over, Sereth. Surrender, and I'll guarantee the lives of you and your crew.
I guess this one's the nicest.
You are an honorable and worthy opponent, Kirk. I accept your offer.
Scotty, beam down a security team to the bridge. We have regained control. Mr. Scott, beam us out of here.
Aye, Captain.
The ending is the same regardless of whether you shot them or talked to them. Plus or minus one crew member, of course.
Message from Starfleet, Captain.
On screen, Lieutenant.
We have read your report on the problems at Beta Myomed and evaluate your performance at 100%. You and your crew received 4 commendation points. A perfect mission, Jim. You are a model for all Starfleet.
Trying to hold a Federation starship captive. Can you believe it?
Since we just witnessed that very event, Doctor, I'm surprised you asked.
It was a rhetorical question, Spock.
That took quite a bit of organization to seize a starship. Think we'll see more of the Elasi pirates?
Undoubtedly, Captain. I suspect they have considerable resources to draw on.
So do I. Sulu, take us out of here.
Indeed, I wonder if we will see more of them.
Love's labor jeopardized.
Priority message from Starfleet.
On screen, Lieutenant.
A raid across the Romulan neutral zone has placed Starfleet Research Station ARC-7 in jeopardy. Proceed immediately to ARC-7 and determine the status of the station. Good luck, Jim.
Isn't that supposed to be Love's Labor Lost? I guess it's a pun on that. And apparently we need to go to Research Station ARC-7. Which of course means that I want to research that on the computer first.
ARC-7, a highly sophisticated arcology project looking into the origins of life in the universe. The project is being led by Dr. Carol Marcus, who, along with a crew of 17 members, is dedicated to unlocking the mystery of life. Further information is classified.
Okay. This project is headed by Dr. Carol Marcus, a name that should be familiar to any Star Trek fan. It is, of course, the researcher behind the Genesis project in Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, and the mother of Kirk's son in that same movie. Not entirely sure if this would be before or after David was born. Anyway, let's research Carol Marcus, anyway.
Marcus, Carol, the current Chief of Research on Station ARC-7. Carol Marcus is an expert in molecular biology, bioprotein development, cell mutation science, and radiation science. Dr. Marcus has been offered many posts in the Federation, but refuses to be involved in any project which may have a direct military application.
That does match up with what we know about her from the movie. She was terrified of Starfleet taking Genesis for military applications. Any advice, Mr. Spock?
Federation agents report that the new Romulan cloaking device not only renders their ships invisible, they also won't show up on our sensors.
Yeah, something that only renders your ship invisible to the naked eye wouldn't be very useful in space. Heck, the Normandy in Mass Effect is the opposite. Like, its stealth systems hide it from sensors, but do not render it invisible, because doing so is pointless at the actual distances that space battles would be fought at. Actually, I should probably also look up the Romulans.
Romulans, a race descended from Vulcan stock, but one that did not reject aggression as the Vulcans did. On a sensor, the two races appear very similar. Their individuals are known for being more passionate and emotional than their Vulcan counterparts. They currently use ships of Klingon design, suggesting to some the Klingons are maintaining them as a client state to antagonize the Federation in a move that circumvents the Organian peace treaty.
Is that true? Are Romulan ships of Klingon design? I don't remember that ever being mentioned in the show. I guess that's one way to explain why the Klingons would have a cloaking device. As early as Star Trek 3, The Search for Spock. Even though they never had one in the original series. I'm sure if this was mentioned in the show, somebody will point it out in the comments. Alright, let's head to Arc 7 and see what is going on. Let me consult my star map. And Arc 7 is up here in the top left corner.
We have arrived at Arc 7. Romulan ship decloaking, Captain.
Message from the Romulan ship, sir.
Treachery. We are aware of Federation plans. Prepare to die.
They're arming weapons, Captain.
Raising shields.
Arming weapons.
You can raise shields and arm weapons before you navigate as well, if you so. Wow, I'm getting really lucky with this. Yeah, the Romulans can obviously cloak, but if you kind of know where they are, then you can still shoot them. And then, once you don't know where they are, I like to just fly around at a high speed, so they can't get a good lock on me. Oh, they're back. Let's reduce speed so I can get them in my view. And they just like to cloak immediately when you get a beat on them, which can make them annoying to fight. Yep, there they are. And he hit us, so let's repair the shields.
They activated a self-destruct device rather than be captured, Captain.
Resuming course to Arc 7, Captain.
Alright. I'm doing very well on these
Captain,
missions.
there is an auto beacon broadcasting from the station.
Warning, warning. As per UFP Regulation 342-188564.3, Paragraph 3, this base is currently under a Class 3 biohazard alert. All personnel are ordered to stay away from this base unless they are part of a biohazard response team.
Okay. Perhaps not such a great idea to beam over then. I don't know if you could see, there's actually another Romulan ship here. Oh yeah, you can see it like that. Pretty nice view of this station. A7, I'm assuming that means Arc 7. But yeah, we can expect more Romulans, considering this ship over there. Let's see if we can talk to these people.
Message from Arc 7, sir.
I am Centurion Ardea Preax of the Romulan Empire. We have discovered your genocide factory here and have summoned help to destroy it. Our lives will not be sacrificed in vain.
Genocide factory? I find that very hard to believe.
Captain, sensors indicate a breathable atmosphere in the space station. It seems that whatever ARC-7's intentions, it managed to create a biohazard that is deadly to Romulans. 17 humans and 10 Romulans are on the station. The humans are all in perfect health, so it seems we can beam over without any fear of contamination.
You say that, Mr. Spock, but you do realize that Vulcans and Romulans are biologically related, right? Honestly, if we actually got to choose who was in our away mission here, I would never take Spock on this mission because it would be a stupid thing to do. Unfortunately, it seems that that Kirk is actually not that smart.
Shields repaired, Captain.
Oh, thanks for that. Can we research this particular Romulan?
Topic not available, Captain.
Either I misremembered his name, or the answer is no. Alright, so let's lower our shields. And beam down.
Spock, come with me. Mr. Scott, you have the car.
Alright, we're on ARC-7. And while I was preparing for this Let's Play, this particular mission is the only one on which I got 100% by myself, without having to consult any hints. So let's see if I can repeat that feat. Should be easy, because now I know what I'm doing. Let's see where we are.
You are on the bridge of the ARC-7.
Does a space station really have a bridge like that, or would they call it a bridge? I'm not sure. That's not a very friendly sight out the window there.
A Romulan bird of prey hovers menacingly on the view screen.
Indeed. Anything else we can look at? The computers.
This computer terminal is linked into the station's main computer. It is currently running an open file of log programs.
That could be useful.
This computer terminal...
Is that the same message for...
This computer terminal...
Yes, it's the same message for all of them.
This is a heavily secured door leading to another section of the station. Its access code has been breached.
Which means we can go through it, I guess.
This is a standard door leading to another room on this deck.
Yep, looks like an ordinary Star Trek door. Thanks for telling us, I guess.
James Kirk watches the Romulan ship with concern.
Yeah, let's hope they don't try to engage the Enterprise while we're down here.
Spock is analyzing the surroundings. McCoy is fidgeting around. Lieutenant Ferris watches the exits carefully.
And we have yet another security officer, because as we saw, Lieutenant Christensen could die. As they all can, I believe. Let's talk to everybody, see what they have to say about the situation.
Strange that the bridge is empty. Stay sharp, everyone. The station's computer system might give us some answers.
That is a good tip.
Nothing unusual here, Captain, though the station's computer may be able to tell us something.
True.
Nice view of the Romulan ship. How comforting.
I agree with Dr. McCoy.
This is a very dangerous situation, sir. We should proceed with caution.
Indeed we should. Why do we even have security officers? I mean, it's always me that has to shoot before. Like, the security officer will never take the initiative to do that. So what's the point of having them? Anyway, we should look at this computer, and I'm guessing Spock is the one who should do that.
Dr. Marcus log. Supplemental. Continued testing of the Ouroboros virus confirms its potential harmful effects on Romulan Vulcan humanoids. As soon as the spill has been cleaned up, we will sterilize both labs and purge the circulation system to make sure no traces of the virus will remain viable. Then all research files must be erased. We must leave no chance that this terrible accident will ever be repeated.
Doctor, you may be interested in the medical data file appended to the log.
Okay, so it seems that they created a virus that is harmful to Romulans and Vulcans. See, I told you we shouldn't have brought Spock. And they were trying to erase all traces of that accident, so nobody could use it for nefarious purposes. But it seems the Romulans got wind of it, and arrived here first. Well, since Spock seems to think McCoy would be interested in this data, let's see what he thinks.
Now that's interesting. There's more here. All of Dr. Marcus' research data on the Ouroboros virus. Let me see. Virus growth patterns. Pneumococcal mimic affecting Romulan-Vulcan genotype. Alveoli involvement in... Boy, Jim, this bug works fast.
Is this really the time to catch up on your reading, Doctor?
Now listen here, you pointy-eared...
Gentlemen, I think we have more pressing problems.
Jim, there is an appended medical database online. Also, it would be useful for me to experiment on how the virus grows in the presence of different gases. I'm sure the station has the necessary equipment.
I don't really know what... Yeah, see, there it goes already. Spock's getting sick. I don't know what Spock was talking about, because this seems a perfect time for McCoy to catch up on his reading, considering the reading is relevant to the mission. And the fact that he said that there is an appended medical database means that we should look at the computer again.
Please select subject file, Ouroboros virus.
They can't seem to decide how to spell Ouroboros. Sometimes it has an extra O in there, and sometimes it does not.
Ouroboros virus. Atypical growth patterns for L-type virus. Opportunistic pneumococcal mimic affecting Romulo-Vulcan genotype. Etiology: contact or airborne vector with alveoli microcollapse. Involvement immediately upon exposure. Tissue dehydration follows pneumal flooding. Mortality: 0.6 in 1.0 stardates. 1.0 within 2.0 stardates. Treatment: none. Named for the mythic world snake that swallows its own tail. Please select subject file, Ouroboros virus.
Okay, no treatment and guaranteed mortality within 2 days. I think we'd better work fast if we want our science officer to come back with us. Actually, it says within 2 star dates. I don't really know if those are days. I mean, within the confines of a single episode, usually one passing star dates seem to be set to represent the passing of a day. But then, at least in the 24th century shows, Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, and Voyager, the star date would increase by 1,000 between seasons, suggesting that 1,000 star days is a year. And they can't both be true, obviously. Yeah, star dates were probably just not meant to be looked at with any in any detail.
TLTDH gas.
There's some other things in this computer. Let's look at all of them. Wonder what this is.
TLTDH gas. The chemical compound. Tantalum, bilithium, phthalo, dihydroxide. Colorless, odorless, non-flammable. Gaseous at 1 atm. And temperatures within a human norm. Early anesthetic among Vulcans and Romulans, in whom it produces laughter, feelings of exhilaration, euphoria, sometimes leading to unconsciousness. In post-industrial pre-spaceflight era, a social problem evolved when crude TLTDH became popular to cook up from non-conductive tantolithial compounds commonly used as electrical insulation. Please select subject file, Ouroboros virus.
Okay, so that was just an entry about what appears to be Romulan-Vulcan laughing gas. Which seems random, but yeah, everything that's in the computer is actually useful.
Nitrous oxide.
Nitrous oxide? That would be human laughing gas, wouldn't it?
Nitrous oxide. A colorless non-flammable compound. N2O. Gaseous at 1 atm. And temperatures within a human norm. Early anesthetic among humans. in whom it produces laughter, feelings of exhilaration, euphoria, sometimes leading to unconsciousness. Please select subject file, Ouroboros virus. T and nitrous ammonia.
Ammonia.
Ammonia, a colorless pungent compound, NH3, a common byproduct of metabolism in carbon-based life forms, liquid or gaseous at 1 atm. Compounds widely used in agricultural, medical, and industrial applications. Please select subject file, Ouroboros virus.
At this point, it isn't really clear why it's telling us all of this, but it will become clear.
T and nitrous oxide, ammonia. Dihydrogen oxide.
That's water.
Dihydrogen oxide, a colorless, tasteless, non-flammable compound, H2O. Water, liquid, solid, or gaseous at 1 atm. Temperature scales defined in most humanoid cultures by state shift of pure water. Please select subject file, Ouroboros virus.
Not if you use Fahrenheit, it's not.
T nitrous ammonia dihydrogen exit database.
That seems to be all. Actually, can we tell that Spock is getting affected by the virus?
He's infected with the virus, Jim.
Indeed. Anything he can do about that?
I don't have the proper medicine to cure him, Jim.
Nope, the database said there was no treatment, so good luck. Anything we can tricorder in this room?
The main computer banks of the ARC-7. It looks like someone has recently been rummaging through the main databanks.
I would assume that's Romulans.
Nothing to report, Captain.
Too far away to scan, I guess?
Nothing to report. Nothing to report. Nothing unusual is detected.
Well, at least he said something else. Alright, let's go check out this place. Let's go here first. I don't remember exactly what's the best way to go. Some equipment over here with some, looks like gas tanks containing hydrogen and oxygen. Let's take a look.
This is a science lab. This is a storage cabinet. This is a synthesizer used to combine and replicate chemicals and form new compounds. This particular model has twin gas feeds.
Okay, so we can synthesize compounds using these gas feeds, I would assume.
This is the door to the synthesis chamber.
In principle, Captain, this device is quite simple. When this chamber is empty and gas tanks are attached, it will combine the gases to make new compounds. If chemicals are placed in the chamber, the machine will combine them with the gases to create new materials.
Next, he'll tell us the DNA molecule is simple.
Compared to many molecular models, it is, Doctor.
I rest my case.
Well, what he was saying wasn't actually that complicated. Basically, put nothing in here, we can combine gases. Put something in here, we can combine that with the gases. Seems to make sense to me.
A gas tank marked O2. A gas tank marked H2. You look but see nothing. You look but see nothing.
Okay, you can't look at the valves, I guess.
An RDAC 1000. The last word in molecular replication, one of the most advanced pieces of scientific equipment ever constructed.
It would take us several hours to get this machine working, Captain. I do not believe we will need it. The synthesis chamber should be able to give us what we need.
Alright, we don't need this machine on the right here. We do need the machine on the left.
McCoy is fidgeting around.
He was doing that in the other room too.
James Tiberius Kirk.
I guess I couldn't think of anything specific to say for this room.
Spock is analyzing the surroundings. Lieutenant Ferris is carefully watching the hallway.
Go bother Spock. This is the kind of place he likes.
True, I guess.
Well, gentlemen, I believe this equipment may be of some use.
Quite possibly.
This is an outstanding facility, Captain.
This room is very defensible, Captain. If things get nasty, we may want to retreat to here.
We'll keep that in mind. Can we tricorder anything?
Nothing to report, Captain. Nothing to report. Nothing to report. Nothing unusual. Nothing to report, Captain. Nothing to report.
I think the answer to that is no. Alright, we'll see what we can do with this machine in the next video.
It's what I was afraid of, Jim. I think Spock is getting worse.